the Palace Restaurant on 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tomorrow. The Palace Restaurant is on Marconet, El Camino, El Camino and Fulton, around there. Yeah, so 6 o'clock. If you can, please do join folks there. It'll be fun. Without further ado, Sion, if you're okay.
Yeah.
So then we'll have a round table. Are you guys gonna come up here, or do you want to? It's your choice, I guess. So please join me in welcoming. I'm really looking forward to this panel. So please, panelists, come up here. All of these, welcome. Hi. Doing great. Doing great.
Do we have enough chairs then?
Right, all right. Can you hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming. We here. My name is Zianta Dessa, the owner of Queen Shiva Restaurant. As you know, also the founder of Shiva Farm Foundation. That's why we're here, because of Shiva Farm Foundation is a non-profit that community organization. We focus on community organization, community education and healing and coming together so we can actually solve our own problem, our own community problem. So that is what Shiva Farm Foundation about. Also growing our own food organically, our tech and our vegetable plant-based food. So here in California, the agricultural state. So I have an amazing community leaders here. I wish I could bring the whole Sacramento community leaders, but we have here who's been doing the work for, ever since I've been here, maybe over 20 years, all of you. So I'm gonna start with everybody just introducing yourself, who you are, and then I was gonna follow up with the reparation question. So I'm gonna start with Marianne. So tell us who you are and what you do in Sacramento.
Thank you for having me. Greetings to all of our community leaders that are here to pour into the conversation. I am Mariana Souza, and I'm a social wellness leader. And the way that shows up in community is a social wellness practitioner. This is a combination of providing services in the home, school, neighborhood, and workplace with a focus on mental health and emotional hygiene. Because as we know, the results of what African people have experienced, we often need multiple and integrative approaches to getting the care we need. So this shows up in a variety of ways, from keynotes, workshops, and trainings for personal and professional development. And I'm grateful to be here to speak to that sector of community wellness, communications, and development growth. So thank you for having me. I'll be serving as a co-moderator. Zion will ask you the first round of questions, And then when the right spot shows up, I might tease it out and pull a little bit more out of you to keep the conversation flowing, authentic and organic. So thank you for being here again.
Thank you, and Dr. Tia.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation, Zion. I'm Dr. Tia. I'm the founder of Be Love Holistic LLC. I practice holistic health and well-being with a focus on Black people, especially Black women. So I do a number of things in terms of workshops or panels such as this. And I just love on my community, so in any way that it's needed. So I'm also the president of Safe Black Space, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the mental health of Black people, healing from racial trauma, understanding what stress and anxiety and PTSD on Black people looks like, and how to navigate a world in which we experience so much oppression and racism, and how to raise up and thrive instead of just surviving under the circumstances. So yeah, I do a number of other things, but really I'm just a sister in the community, and I show up wherever I'm needed, however I have the capacity to. So that looks like a number of different things, and today it is speaking to this wonderful group on this past needed topic. And I'm happy to be here with family and friends and community, and looking forward to meeting others who are looking forward to doing the work as well. So thank you.
And the one, the only one, Mama Ross.
Good evening, family. Good evening, family. And yes, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Zion, for community, because as an elder in the community, I already know. Thank you. Queen Amina, Fanco for 2020 Agri-Hood. And this is the kitchen table. This is what I've always had at the kitchen table from my elders, someone who could help me emotionally heal from the trauma. Because when I was a young woman, I couldn't get my own apartment and move away from domestic violence. We couldn't get credit. I had to have a man sign for me. So that was the role of my sister here. And we've always had therapists in the community. I grew up, was educated and raised under Jim Crow. And why? Because my therapist was naturally, culturally competent. Okay? And to my brother Chris and the other panelists, these are the people in the community who look like me, who look like you. This was our safety net, and this was our kitchen table. What I bring to the table as Mama Roz, Queen Amina, is the food. Is the food. I'm the owner of Sankofa 2020 Agri-Hood Farmers Market, and Queen Amina's 100 Gardens. I provide food, and it evolved to this, but it started out mothers who are working and have children and families who are on these timelines. Always had enough to share. And just that little bit was enough for those parents to continue to parent without the stress of her having to come home and cook. Come home and cook. Come home and cook. It don't matter, somebody gotta cook. Hey, and daddy can burn, okay? So that's all I'm saying. Agriculture. And that's what I bring to the community. I have a goal of 100 gardens in Sacramento, South Sacramento community of Meadowview. And that is my call to action. Let's just drop a seed. Matthew 17:20. Faith of a mustard seed. And just, I'm gonna pass this to Chris, but I don't have weeds. I need to bring up my pictures. What comes up in the cracks? At my house, red mustards, basil, is what the birds did, is what the wind did, is what God did. My mother.
That was so everything. Chris Larson, I'm originally from New York City, born and raised in Manhattan, Brooklyn. Been out here in California for about almost 10 years. I am the creator of something called Sac Black Biz, which is right now California, maybe in the future. Sacramento's largest, most active, dopest, really database digital marketing platform for Sacramento Black-owned businesses. Also one of the lead organizers for the Coalition for Just and Equitable California, CJEC. We helped write the final version of the law that created the California Reparations Task Force in 2019-2020. We helped pass the bill in 2020, working with our esteemed author and Assembly Member Dr. Shirley Weber, now of course California Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber. And then we worked to encourage and urge the government to sign the bill in 2020, after which we worked with the State Reparations Task Force from 2021 to 2023 as one of the 7 community partners that the task force asked to partner with to do outreach and education for reparations in California. Now we're working on actual reparations legislation at the state level, and also here to support the work that Sacramento is considering doing for reparations at the local level. And I will stop there and pass it to the good doctor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Brother Chris. I remember Brother Chris, PhD, yes. Public high school diploma. We had the pleasure of having him during the Black History Month. Really mesmerized us, and I would glad to be a part of the panel with him. Ernest Schwartz is my name. I wear multiple hats, but for this panel, of course, being on the campus of California State University in Sacramento, I'm proud to be a professor of criminal justice here a long time, since 1991, and director of the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution that is hosting this 32nd annual Africa Diaspora Conference on the theme of restorative justice and equitable peace building. Of course, in the community, I'm very active, especially in the African diaspora community. Whether it's African House Sacramento, or the Nigerian Association, or you name it. If Abdel Harris of NAACP says, hey, brother, we need to do this, get it done. And so on and so forth. That's quite active. For this particular panel, when Zion says she wanted me to be part of this panel, I didn't have the guts to say no, because there is no reason to say no. Because it's a good purpose and for the topic, however challenging in some instances. So I hope to be able to lend, however modest a voice it could be, especially from the Pan-African perspective on our landscape on this topic of reparations. And I must apologize ahead of time that I would have to leave about 6:30-ish for the airport to receive the Chief Justice of Ghana, who's arriving in Sacramento and is our guest at our Peace Awards on Saturday.
We understand.
Of which Dr. Christy Higgins of SBS is one of the honorees as well.
Yes. All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Rico Gordon. I'm the founder of Oak Park Massage Clinic. I'm a physical healer in some ways, you could say. I've been practicing medicine in my hometown, Sacramento, Oak Park, for about 7 or 8 years now, and I have the pleasure of meeting some fine people here tonight, and I'm just humbled that all these brothers and sisters and the Creator and all of y'all are gathered here to hear what we have to say. It's a little humbling. I think my biggest contribution to not only my community, all communities, Black community, is the opportunities and the empowerment to have access to healing. And the way that we do that is we partner with different organizations in Sacramento, such as the Greater Sacramento Urban League, the Oak Park Community Center. And what we're doing is we're trying to provide access to our seniors, to folks that are afflicted with things like diabetes, because massage and energy work, as well as just a little bit of health education, go a long way. Circulation is one of the biggest things that we found has been what affects us, heart disease, diabetes, things like that. So we start with feet and hands, and that's a great way for us to introduce touch and healing, using herbs, using oils, all kinds of things like that. So, I'm looking forward to continuing the work and building more of an established team that we can now reach out to the community. I'm only one person right now, so this is the team that I picked up today. I'll be in touch with all these people here to see what we can do to help each other. So, yeah. Thank
you, Mariana. Honestly, we need that, and we need local support. So the follow-up question, I know Professor Uwazi, you're gonna leave, but I'm gonna start with Chris, and then I'm gonna follow up with Professor Uwazi. So Chris, when we talk about reparation, how hopeful are you? I know you've been working on it the past whatever years, every day, and I've seen you do that. So how hopeful are you when it comes to the city level and the state level and the federal level? Reparation is really happening.
Thank you for that question. How hopeful am I? I'm very hopeful, but I'm more than hopeful. I'm optimistic, I'm confident, actually, that here locally in the city of Sacramento and statewide across California, there will be reparations. I'm very confident in that. We're very far along in the process right now. I'm not as confident in the federal government, to be quite honest with you, because quite frankly, California is already years ahead of the federal government. At the federal level, there has been a bill, or people have been trying to create a federal level reparations commission to just study reparations since 1988, 89. And that attempt has failed every year since 1989. Here in California, we created a commission or task force to study and then develop reparations recommendations within 2 years. And those recommendations are right now, on the desk of every sitting California state senator, every sitting California state assembly member, and the governor also. And right now, there are between 20 and 30 different bills that are being considered by the California state legislature based on what the State Reparations Task Force recommended. So I'm very confident that California will do it. I'm confident that the city of Sacramento will do it. And other cities in California will do it too. Again, not as much in the federal government's work, but a lot of times change happens first on the local level and then is pressure and blows up to the federal level. So here, yes, confident. Federal level, we have to work.
What about the city? Why they assigned that? If you just a little bit talk about.
Yeah, so right now, Sacramento is there are a number of cities in California that have started to pursue reparations at the city level. San Francisco is probably the most known, most popular, but the city of Los Angeles has its own city-level reparations commission. Culver City has one, Berkeley has one, Alameda County has one. Sacramento is probably number 4, 5, maybe 6 in that line of cities that are creating city-level reparations commissions or considering it. In 2022 and 2023, the mayor's office reached out to people who were working on reparations at the state level to talk to us about whether or not the city of Sacramento should create a city-level reparations effort. We responded with, hey, you need to talk to people in the city of Sacramento about whether Sacramento should do that. We're happy to help. And in late 2023, the mayor brought together some community organizations to start talking about it. And the community organization said, we need to take this question to the public, to the people. And that is really the birth of the Sacramento Reparations Survey Campaign, which is what we're partly here to talk about today, which is really an opportunity for you, every single one of us here, to tell the city of Sacramento whether or not you think that we should create a city-level reparations commission whether or not you think that we should pursue reparations at the city level here in Sacramento.
Thank you for that, because that is so clear, because that's what we're here for, and including Dr. Christie is part of that team, to really outreach and educate African American to really fill that form. Without your voice, we can't really, the city cannot do much, otherwise they're just gonna go and create whatever program they need. So I'm just gonna move to Professor Uwazi right now, when it comes to criminal justice in our community. As you know, even though we only 13%, especially here in California, we might be 8%, but nearly 40% of our youth are in prison. So how do we prevent from our youth, falling into that prison or jail pipeline?
Yeah, thank you. This is a question that I think is left for all of us. On the activist level, how do we change policies that will mitigate or interrupt the school to prison pipeline? That becomes quite important. And of course, at the educational level, I listened to the comments, especially Chris in his very articulate explanation of the reparations movement. To what extent some type of educational package or remedies place. I as a professor of criminal justice, I always talk about the fact that we, in California, we spend about $100,000 a year to put somebody in California State Prison in Sacramento. Right? We hang out with every Friday with colleagues, here and out there. At California State Prison in Sacramento, about $100,000 a year, on average. If you are a young person, it's about 3 times that amount, and we have about 400 or so of them that they watch. So we try to phase that out, population. If you are an elderly 55 and above, it's about 4 times that amount. And if you happen to have a chronic illness, you can multiply that even more to some extent. And we have about 95,000, 100,000 folks in our prison that is meant for about 80,000 people in California. And we spend about $14 billion a year for just that population of about less than 100,000. But for the student in my class from California State Prison, at California State University, Sacramento, let's get that correct. We spend less than $60,000 a year. And we have what I said, 100,000, and we spend about 10 to 12 billion for the whole California State University system of nearly 500,000 students. So we do the math. 100,000 people in prison, we spend about $14 billion. 500,000 people in the university system, and we spend 2, 3, 4 billion less. Right? And one thing we know consistently that makes the difference, those young men and not so young, so to say anymore, we spent some time on Friday in a restorative justice dialogue at California State Prison, Sacramento Sea Yard. 60-70% of them dropped out of high school. And we could do better, we could change that. And we know one thing consistent that makes a difference is that if you have a college, if you have even a high school diploma, it makes a difference. If you have a university college, even if it's associate degree, it makes a lot of difference, and so on and so forth. So education does make a lot of difference. How we can interrupt that. So maybe half of that conversation on reparations could be with that. What that kind of is a paradigm shift to a large extent, but one that we must engage in. You are correct. Black folks in California make up less than 8% of the population, but almost 40% of the incarceration. How about those on parole and probation who are impacted by the justice system? And of course, when you ask the parents, the children, right? you're looking at a population of, almost 10%. And this kind of leads me to that portion of that. And this is where I kind of want us to think about in a Pan-African perspective. And I have every respect and definitely think that when wrong has occurred, there is need to be held to hold people accountable, to acknowledge that and repair. But the issue of anti-Blackness, the issue of being Black in America in particular, and maybe other places in the world, is at the heart of, or should be really centered. And so when we hear the comment and the restriction of the reparations to movement to only descendants of slavery, it causes me some worry, not only in terms of the division within the folk that is already bothered in many other ways, right? But what about me? What about my children who are having to face that kind of Blackness, being Black in America, right, in a way? And to what extent this kind of challenges what we have seen for a long time from Marcus Garvey, Kwame Nkrumah, Martin Luther King, W.E.B. Du Bois, on the kind of sense of Pan-Africanism, right? We are stronger when we are united. And then when we allow some of these things to kind of divide us, we lose a lot, and it may take a lot more to regain. Chris is optimistic in terms of reparations, maybe in other areas. I'm not too hopeful about it in monetary terms. I'm not too hopeful about it in monetary terms. And part of it is already a certain sense that the Black folks are not united in this front. And for you to be able to move in this country with a certain sense of economic, somebody's going to feel that they're going to pay something out, right? You have to be able to show that you have crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. There could be some conversations in terms of what kinds of reforms, which got me to think that we talked about Dr. Shirley Weber, the Center for African Peace and Conflict, who was a sponsor of quite a good number of our initiatives when we were talking about police accountability to some extent. Because at the heart of all the things, I think as a professor of criminal I'm not shy in saying it, the anti-Blackness is real, and it's one that we should do our level best to make sure we have a united front on that. And again, as a professor of criminal justice, certainly it's one that I think affects one and all. And I would even argue, as we talk about it at the California state level, we talk about it at the national level, there also is part of it the global level that has been going on for quite some time as part of reparations for not just slavery, but also colonization, right? That again burdens, especially the same Black folks. We're talking about Europeans or Americans, or even in terms of Asian, in terms of Arab world, right? To some extent. But how we can try to do it. And even on my very fine campus of California State University, Sacramento, Charles Getty is part of the eugenics movement. Everybody knows what that is, right? We inherited some of his property. I mean, we are on it now, and I'm sure he's probably turning really mad in his grave, right? Because he didn't think that Black folks in some of the areas should be as part of the eugenics movement. We used to have a building named after him that we now changed to Julia Morgan House, a very fine building here. How we can even come to terms, even at this local level, and I don't want to cause any heartburns for my dear new president, Wood, in any way. But definitely there is enough of accounting at all levels. When we talk about whether it's Sacramento City, or even Sacramento State, or California State, the nation, or even the world. I'll stop for now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I agree, Professor, but the thing is, what I believe for me, well, we have to start right here with the African American. And American government should pay for the African American, the European should pay for African, for the colonization. So we gotta start somewhere. So we're starting here, and if African American benefit, Africa benefit, Caribbean benefit, the whole, just like America benefits, Asians, Asians, American building Asians, European build Europe. So if African American benefit here in this country, we would have been, Africa would have been somewhere by now. That's what I believe. But at the same time, we still have to come together as Black people to help what is missing here for our Black kids in generational wealth, also in Africa, same way. So somebody has to be accountable regardless for our, yes, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was responding especially from the vantage point of criminal justice, right?
Yeah.
Because it's something that has affected all Black folks, right? And so when you talk about kind of reparations, you're gonna have to be as inclusive as those folks. You cannot do one and not the other.
Yeah.
The monetary part of that, we can have honest conversations, about that. I'm not necessarily saying it should not happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm kind of making kind of a political reality assessment to some extent of what that may look like.
We're gonna do it. This is gonna get very interesting very fast. It is very interesting already.
Yes.
And I want to respect my sisters here because I really want to hear from my sisters more so than for myself. But I do want to just say a couple of things. One, just to share with you what the eligibility criteria is at the state level for reparations. So to be eligible for reparations at the state level, you need to have two things going for you generally. One, you need to be a current California resident, makes sense. And two, you need to be a living descendant of someone whose ancestors were enslaved somewhere in the United States. So your ancestors could have been enslaved somewhere in Georgia, but you're now a California resident, you're eligible, et cetera, et cetera. That is something like, so about 6% of the population, it's about 2.5 million people who self-identify as Black or African American in California. That's about 2 million of those 2.5 million, so about 85, let's say almost 90%, so between 80 and 90%. Anybody and everybody who self-identifies as Black or African American in California would be eligible for reparations in California. Why though? Why just, not just, why the descendants? For a few reasons. One, this was always about us. There is a difference, there's a big difference, I think. And let's speak about this honestly now as brothers and sisters from many different parts of the diaspora, right? There's a big difference between somebody whose ancestors were kidnapped, sold, shipped, human trafficked, sex trafficked into America, and people who voluntarily chose to come to America. That is a very big difference. That's the first part. Secondly, it is this country, my country, that committed the harms against my particular people. And I do say my particular people. We, as descendants, we are a particular and specific group of people. And this is something that I want us to think more about. We are a specific, dare I say, unique group of people. There's nobody like us. Nobody's done what we've done for this country. No group. Doesn't mean we're better than anybody, but it does mean that we have done things for this country, created this country, and no other group can say that with maybe one exception if you want to bring in our indigenous brothers and sisters. We are the only two groups, actually, our group and our indigenous brothers, who are not immigrants to this country. So we start from a different place. Secondly, the bill to create the California Reparations Task Force specifically identifies the descendants of persons who were enslaved in the United States. So actually, this particular reparations effort is specifically about us, and I know that because we actually have that language written into the legislation, specifically saying this is about the descendants of persons who were enslaved in the United States. This is the group that the 40 acres and a mule were promised to and then taken away from. This is the group who were, brought here involuntarily. So it starts with us. We do agree, though, that when we are successful here and things that help us are good for everybody, Everybody does better when we do better. But those are some of the reasons why, at least to start, this particular effort is specifically about us. Lastly, I'll say, so in California, and I'm very sympathetic to the points about the criminal justice system, because part of some of the other work that I do, I do policy and community organizing with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, ARC, which you may be familiar with. So we in every prison in the state every single day. We in every juvenile hall in Sacramento and LA every single day. I just left the office right now. 99% of the staff has done prison time. I may be the only person in the office who has not done prison time. So I'm very sympathetic to this particular group. But one thing to keep in mind is that the reparations effort is specifically at the state level about slavery and the things that came after slavery, mass incarceration, etc., and the impact of those things on the descendants of slavery. That's important. It's not just about slavery and the things that came after. It's about slavery, the things that came after, and the impact of those things on the descendants of those who were enslaved in this country. And last thing is, so the State Reparations Task Force brought in a bunch of people to answer the question, well, what's the strongest legal way, strongest constitutional way to design a reparations program so that it survives, and so that it actually happens? And the legal and constitutional experts told us that if you want to design a reparations effort that will survive a court challenge, by the way, there's a story out just in the last 24 hours about already some potential court challenges to what we're doing at the state level. The best way to do a reparations effort is to design your eligibility specifically for a group that was harmed in a way that does not implicate that group's race. Why is that? Because in California, it is illegal and unconstitutional to design any program or benefit specifically that puts government money in the hands of any one racial group of people. If everybody here would be very highly upset if we saw a law that said this is government benefits for white folks only. And we would be raising HELL about that. That's right, but it's also illegal to do something like that. So if we were to design a program that said something like, if you're a Black or African American, if you self-identify as Black or African American, you're eligible, period. That would be illegal and unconstitutional. So there are historic reasons for why the eligibility is what it is. There are also legal and constitutional considerations also. We also think it's just the right thing to do. And as I mentioned, we are helped. We think it's going to be great for everybody. And we think our effort here is going to empower the efforts of folks on the continent who have rightful claims to reparations themselves. And so when we're successful here, we think that's going to help other groups be successful too. Unity in I do want to say this is the last thing. So what does unity mean? What does that mean? We have a saying, unity does not mean uniformity, right? But what does unity mean? What does real solidarity mean? What does that really mean? Does it mean that you can't support something that I'm fighting for if you're not a part of it? If you're not getting a piece of it, then you can't support it? Or does unity really mean I'm gonna support y'all, I'm gonna fight for y'all for what y'all want? I don't want none of it myself. I want you to get yours, and I want you to be the best that you could be. That's what I think unity is. The other thing to me is not unity. And so I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with you and the team about this particular issue, because I think it's very important.
Yes, thank you for that. I think, I agree with both of you in a way with Chris, because even I say, when they say Africa, they put us in one together. Ethiopia is different than Nigeria, the stuff we need. So African American has their own needs and wants. But when that policy changes, the criminal justice, whatever justice, then we benefit too. The policy is where we have to change as unity. But, again, still, we benefit the same way as Black people. So I'm gonna come to Mama Ross. So for you, the question I have is what really reparation means to you? And also, I know you are in food justice. So how do you think reparation is gonna help when it comes to the food justice, especially in our community? We came here from, African American came here from Africa, especially for agriculture. Right now, 17% of American land is agriculture, but we are only 1 or 2% of us in there. So how do we change that through food justice, and reparation will help us?
Well, yes, reparations could help us. And I would start with eliminating taxes. That to me is a more immediate, that's more immediate disposable income. And I'll tell you why. What brought it home to me, when I retired, I got a whole bunch of money put back in my check.
Yeah.
Got a whole bunch of money put back into my check. And it was FICA, because I remember when I got my first job and all this, they said FICA. One big category, FICA. I said, it's FICA. They got too much of my money with FICA. I told my daddy I was crying. So, taxes. And some of the legislation, we need to get rid of these wet dining and all the restrictions. Institutional restrictions, to me, that's what reparations is all about. Tear down all the barriers. But before we can get to all of those barriers, if we want a short term, a mid-range, and a long range, in the short term, we can start with our local municipality and let's cut our real estate taxes. Let's cut our business taxes. That's immediate revenue right here, right now that we can work with, okay? Let's eliminate mortgage insurance. You know what mortgage insurance is all about? Black and brown people own the actuary table. That's how long you're gonna live, your insurance. So you take out a mortgage, they looking at the actuary table and they say, well, they got high percentages because of high blood pressure, heart disease, sugar diabetes, blah, 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 blah. That's where I come in. Queen Amina's 100 Gardens and agriculture. Our original skill set that we could monetize was our labor in agriculture.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
now pay Queen. All we got to do is what did we do in the past? We're doing it now. We need to use those lessons now, and let's plot a way to the future. Real quick, everybody talk about General Order Number 3, Juneteenth. Well, what was General Order Number 1, Number 2, and Number 4? I will tell you, Number 4 was all about rite of passage of a cotton crop from Texas to New Orleans to be put on the barge. But General Order Number 1 gave authority for General Granger to march into Texas. General Order Number 2 was a directive. The directive was, guess what? Go to the armory, secure the munitions so that the former slaves won't take up arms against their former masters, because they're going to be mad to know that they was held over 18 months when everybody else in the continental 48 were free. Okay, now people gonna be pissed. So let's avoid a problem before it even gets started. Now, General Order Number 3. Tell all this population of people they are free. You are no longer a slave. What did that mean? That means they upset the accounting. No more free labor, on this good, on this cotton, on this crop, because the Southern economy was decimated because of the Civil War. So they thinking ahead, but we gonna hold them over so we can get this seed in and they can harvest this seed. All right, general order number 4. Former slave owners, give your former slaves a rite of passage. Take them into your employment so that they can take the crop to New Orleans. They've been doing it for years and centuries. Just let them keep on doing it. Just let them keep on doing it. But now you need to protect your investment, your ROI. That seed that you planted to get that cotton, and now that cotton has been harvested, because we didn't held them over, we can't hold them no more. Now we gotta give them administrative rights, legal rites of passage to carry your good to New Orleans. So that was general order number 4, and that was the beginning of the construct of sharecropping. It's all about our labor, our labor, our labor. So within the agricultural scheme of things, whoever controls your resources control you. Let's control our most vital resource, our food. Take a couple of mustard seeds, put a couple of cotton balls in this cup, put some water on it, sprinkle it, sit in the window, booyah, 5 days, okay? Then let's just take 2 black-eyed peas, turn them down, and sprinkle them, do the same thing, booyah, 5, 7, 10 days. That's all we need. You don't even need soil. You can put it in the soil later. So just very simply, we need to regain control of one of our most precious resources within reparations so that we can have the land we need, so that we can get those loans from small business development and the USDA. Cut those regulations so that we can have access to land and to loans to develop our own. So for reparations, for me, eliminate the taxes, eliminate mortgage insurance, it's unnecessary. Maybe I need to do some research and see what those numbers bear out. Okay. It's an extra $100 in your mortgage. Oh no, that's extra money, honey, in my pocket. So reparations, eliminate the taxes. I agree with some of this money.
Yeah, I agree. The reason why I agree with you, the taxes, especially small businesses, especially for
Yes.
Black and African American.
All farms and small
Tax does
business.
not come back to our community. So what is it? You know, all the taxes that have been generated every year from the city and from the state level, federal level, how many percentage of it comes back to our community? None. So all the taxes, most of it go to the big companies, the big is like a welfare to them. So until they show us how many percentage of it they're putting it into our Black community, the tax, we shouldn't be paying taxes because we still have to support our community. They support the community through that taxes, so why are we paying the taxes? Especially Black people, African American. Because I'm honestly, as a business person, I don't see it, them putting it back into our community. What is it? So I think I agree with you, Mama Ross. We shouldn't pay taxes. Yeah.
So should I run for president?
No more taxes. Putting it back to our community. No more taxes. Because it is a hard job. Like for me, even though I'm a small business restaurant or business person, I still have to support the whole community. So if I'm paying taxes, whereas other community, they already created generational wealth. They already have the middle class, the upper class job. They already have the businesses in the companies.
Yes.
So, but with us, we don't have the money, but we still pay taxes. Exactly, it's coming back to us. So that's gotta stop. So that would be our finance. But when it comes to our health and wellness, you know, especially our community, African American community, for the past 400 years, it's been, you know, from slavery, you know, so much stuff, from trauma to another trauma.
Yes.
So I know, Dr. Christie, you work with our community when it comes to, sorry, because I know Dr. Christie, she's amazing. too, like you are. So Tia, I know you are so active in the community when it comes to health and wellness, holistic health. And when it comes to our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health, and then of course our financial health. So what do you think the reparation is gonna help our community when it comes to healing us from that side of, cultural therapy?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because I'm concerned. Honestly, I'm concerned. There's 400 plus years of trauma that I don't think anybody thinks that a monetary, right, a stipend. I don't think that anybody thinks that money is gonna fix it. There are systems that have been put in place for hundreds of years that are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And so I think it's up to us, like Mama Roz said, to really lean into Sankofa, and that is the idea of looking back at who we are, who we've been, what we've done, how we've done it, what's worked, what hasn't, and remembering those things and reinventing or restoring, rejuvenating, revitalizing those things, right? So food is one of them. The way we eat today is not the way we used to eat. We farmed, we were the builders of agriculture, we were the creators. That's why they brought us here in the first place, is because of our expertise and because of our knowledge and understanding. And so we don't eat the way that we used to eat. Now we have an American or colonized diet, and that keeps us sick. That's why Black people have high blood pressure at alarming rates, and heart disease, and are dying of strokes, and we have anxiety because food impacts our mood. Food has everything to do with our cognitive functioning, right? And so that's just one area. That's just one area of it. That's just the food. We're not even talking about, exercise. Who has time to exercise in a capitalist world? Nobody has time because we're too busy making money for somebody else. We're too busy working our bodies and expending our energy and our vitality making somebody else's money. Our Black excellence, our Black brilliance, everything that we bring is making other people rich. We're not seeing any of it. Again, that's just one piece of it. So now we're talking about food and exercise, mental health. How are we gonna heal from 400 years plus of all of the things that have happened to us? So we talk about enslavement, then we talk about sharecropping, right? Like that was supposed to do us a favor. And then we gotta talk about convict leasing. Then we gotta talk about redlining that's impacting our education. Then we gotta talk about how mass incarceration has taken people out of the homes, made Black women single mothers that are now working overtime and the only person bringing money into the house to support multiple children. What that does to us, I have 3 children and a very supportive partner, and I be going crazy with him in the house. So imagining doing everything by myself, working 40 plus hours a week to support children by myself because my man or whoever else has been supporting or been there is now incarcerated. And women, we are incarcerated too. Black women, we are overrepresented in the criminal justice system too as Black women. So now we talking about grandma and auntie picking up where mom left off when she went to prison, probably doing something to make money to support her family.
The entire family goes to prison.
Right? So how reparations is going to address this, I'm not exactly sure yet, because I'm not deep in the trenches like my brother over here. I have hope and I believe in what he's doing, so I have hope that something is gonna come about. But for what I can do for myself to take care of myself, talk about how we can change our diets, how we can center our physical wellness, because how we gonna mobilize anything? How we gonna get anything moving if we are unable to move? If we somewhere laid up, sick, unwell, right? Because of what we're eating or because of what we're consuming. So yeah, this is deep. It goes real deep. And that's why the holistic health piece is so important, because we have to address the whole thing, holistically. And everybody up here is needed because there's so much that needs to be addressed. We have Mariana, we have you, we have Sis, everybody playing a different role, right? So yeah, where I come in, I just love to be the light. I love to give the information. You take it or don't. But I love to give the information. I love to be a walking example, a demonstration, so that people know that it can be done, whatever it is, whether it's changing your eating habits, whether it's learning how to fit exercise into your own diet or into your own daily practice, whether it's learning how to incorporate mindfulness into your daily practice. I just like to be the example so that other people can know that it can be done. There are ways, there is support, there are resources. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, because I could go on.
Amazing job. Honestly, but you just need more support. Imagine if you had that support. You can do it multiple, triple times, so you can actually, because you're just one person, imagine how many people you can train and educate and multiply. So that reparation will help to create a program specifically for what you do. So you can actually reach out to the people who needs to be reached. So you're already doing an amazing job, with what you're doing. So I'm so proud of you. And we need you in our community for sure. And Mariana, do you have any question for her, for them?
No, it's so funny. She was like, I need you to come and help me co-facilitate that. I said, she done rocked the house already. I said, I'll just make a little chime in. I think what I'll do, because with respect to time, and we still have to hear from my brother Rico, I'll just speak on the capacity of doing social wellness work with community.
Yes.
And when I first heard about the conversation of reparation, which I actually don't qualify for because of my lineage, my father, who has now passed away, he's from Morocco. My Cape Verdean mother, they came over some generations ago, so I don't qualify for it. And I think it's very important when we talk about unity and what that looks like is understanding, when I had a beautiful conversation with Zion, is that when we understand that we are willing to be selfless enough to focus on where the dire need is, that ultimately trickles out into other places. Because at the end of the day, I didn't necessarily go through that form of enslavement in my immediate bloodline, but I'm suffering all the things that every sister in the community has dealt with in one way or another. Because at the end of the day, even with light skin, I am rendered as an African woman having this American experience. And so I'm dealing with all of the microaggressions and the gender inequalities that come on top of being a woman of African descent. So I think that's one thing that's important to understand, is that if I excluded myself because it didn't apply to me, even though my money has been in this Black community, even though I make money in this Black community, there's no separation for me. I think another thing that is important to understand in terms of social wellness is the philosophy I work with is to level the learning field, to level the healing field, and to level the playing field. And we oftentimes hear that expression when we need to level the playing field, especially when we use examples of equity. The three people stacked on the boxes and some have more advantages than others, right? That's a very strong image when we talk about equity. But at the end of the day, we can level the playing field and give everyone access. But if we don't give them the internal healing services necessary, you can put a pile of money on top of someone's head. That does not mean that they are going to learn how to learn and teach and cultivate self-reliance. And so for me, the first step in leveling the learning field is just allowing safe spaces for people of African descent, whether they have lineage directly through slavery or not, to really have self-exploration experiences, to really do the assessment work for their own issues that are related to psychosis as a result of being an African person living in America. And that doesn't always need to be a clinical route, but we do need to fund those practitioners. I know myself and these sisters here, we work directly in the community. Whether we have letters behind our names, we are doctors of the mind and the heart through the service that we give, the social service skills that we offer. And that is about allowing safe spaces for people to learn about themselves and do their own assessment instead of going to clinical environments where we have institutional distrust, rightfully. And we don't feel that those measuring systems can give the quantifiable information necessary for us to feel comfortable to even learn about ourselves without, racist tendencies in the back, checking off boxes in a negative way. So my first effort is to make sure in the way that I give reparations myself, right? It's not just about asking for reparations from outside forces, it's how do we live a benevolent lifestyle. And so by leveling, giving opportunities for people to level the learning fields, that's the first step. Leveling the healing field is once someone is self-aware of the psychosis, of the issues that have happened of being a person of African descent living in America, then you can have the motivation and more willpower to unify. But if you didn't get the chance to learn who you are and become self-aware, you can't trust yourself. So you can't get to the next step of leveling the playing field and cooperating with cooperative economics and all of these other philosophies that have been well researched, but applying them for some reason and having it adhere in the way of life for Black people in America is very difficult because we haven't gotten the leveling, the learning to be fully aware of who, what, when, where, and why we are this way, to begin to go through some healing modalities with the services we provide, which then allows people to even see they need to eat better. You can't just tell someone to eat better if they don't understand why and what the risk is. You can't tell somebody to have healthy relationships if they don't understand why they're addicted to toxic relationships. So before we get to just throwing money, the reason why we need these reparations is first to put the services in place for people to be able to receive and use the reparations in a way that leaves our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it. And so for me, I don't necessarily qualify for reparations, but the benevolence that I live in with my community, I'm getting poured into. It's just in a different way. So I might not get a check per se, but because I am unified and working with these practitioners, the village that I get in return and the healing I get from that serves me in my individual experience as a person of African descent. So if there's anything that you walk away from the words that I'm saying as a social wellness practitioner, is I am here to, number one, create spaces and not just check off the box and say equity and DEI, but I'm here to create spaces for us to level the learning field, to become self-aware, to level the healing field so that we can actually use these resources that we get to eventually level the playing field and to be able to take that income and all of this land and all of these services to really maximize its value. And so I know sometimes we have different levels of hope. Like I thought about that when I was listening about like some people like, I ain't too hopeful. I'm real hopeful, right? If we were leveling the learning field and we had more awareness, we may be able to share in that hope that he has. But then we can also entertain and expound on these ideas of why people are so mistrusting and not feeling hopeful. That's the same feeling we have with institutional distrust. Why would we, right? Why would people of African descent all of a sudden think that when they're about to make money obsolete, that all of a sudden they want to give you some? So I think that those are protective factors that need to be in place. And we should scrutinize why anybody who's been bullying the whole planet would all of a sudden want to make it right real quick. And that is, again, the psychological work that we need to do, because we're not going to get anyone to unify or trust each other if we don't have those deeper conversations. And that's what I'm on the planet to do. So create those spaces for us to learn and explore. And I think that there are obviously people in the room that don't necessarily qualify for reparations. I do want to tell you thank you and continue to go beyond being an ally, be an active resource in whatever the gift and skill that you have is. So that's my piece and how I think it fits. And thank you for giving me that little moment to freestyle and share some medicine from my heart.
I appreciate you, your education, but we need funds for all that. And if our
Cause
community.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna take some, if you wanna break me off a piece of your reparations check to help me keep working with these kids, you can donate it. So I take donations, I take PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, right? We can still circulate that wealth no matter where we have it, manifest.
Absolutely, that's why I say I'm African too, Barry, came from Africa. So I never had to go through what the African American had to go through, even though I came from a third world country. So, pre-Shiva, most of 80% of my customers are, either white, Asians from a different community. If my African American had the money, they would be coming in, spending that money, and I do well too. So they'll be spending the money into my business. So our businesses, like Mama Ross said, we can't pay reparation. Like Mama Ross said, if we don't pay taxes, now at least we can pay tax if we get reparation. Or we can go out to eat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now we can go out to eat and put the money to mine, and then I can pay the taxes.
Well, let's do better than that. Can you cater?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And next event, that's how we keep the money.
Yes, because the thing is here, how the system as well, I was gonna bring my food, but I can't bring my food because, they have their own system going on because, we have to, the state has their own petrol. So, yes. So, but I'm gonna ask Rico, so again, you live in Oak Park, in the heart of Oak Park, and you do business there, and you live there. So you know the heartbeat of the community, what they go through in there, all the, the gentrification going on in Oak Park, in our community, and you are a small business owner as well. So what does reparation means to you also, what ownership means to you, like especially for our community, having small businesses, entrepreneurship?
Right. And thank you, Mariana, for that freestyle. That was beautiful. I feel like I don't need to say much after that, but what I will say is that is what drove me to do what I'm doing. I saw people in my family that looked like me, my father, people not getting good treatment for ailments that shouldn't be a problem, right? We talked about folks that were now institutionalized because of slavery and other things that happened in the home that disrupted things. Well, guess what? When we weren't locked up, they gave us dope, okay? And so now we're medicating ourselves to deal with all these things, right? It changed from illegal drugs to now prescriptions. So in my life, I'm thank God I'm not taking any prescriptions right now. I don't want to. If I can avoid it, I'm gonna seek other avenues for healing, right? I'm gonna talk to some people and make sure that I can get my head right. I'm gonna go and get, a massage because my back is sore or my neck is sore and I gotta go to work, right? So instead of now using, no disrespect, alcohol or any other types of things to get through the day, I thought, well, why can't I heal, right? Why can't I use the power of the touch? And these ancient and sacred healing practices that were ours.
Yes.
They were ours and then taken away from us, right? And we were given something else that continued to make us sick and dependent on a healthcare system that wasn't ready to support our needs anyway. So, right, bring it back around to Sacramento, back to Oak Park. I'm from Sacramento. As far as I know, I'm the only Black-owned wellness center, clinic, facility in Oak Park. Possibly the only massage and bodywork healing center ever in Oak Park. I'm not really sure, but what I do know for a fact is that by me having a platform and using my talents and my gifts, other people that see me now have some sort of frame of reference to understand, wow, this brother's doing it. He has something that I've not seen before from the medical side, from wellness, right? And so now because I have this platform and I'm around other Black men like myself, we get to talking about health. You know, when's the last time you went to see your doctor? You know, I noticed you're limping a little bit. How does that, you know? And so now I'm able to heal my brothers and my sisters that I see every day walking through my neighborhood. You know, I want to do more. I feel like there's so many people that need more access to talking about physical movement and wellness. Well, you know, if you can't bend over and reach and do the downward dog or anything like that, I can help that. I can help you.
Really?
Yes, I can, absolutely. Yes, you come to the farm, don't
That's
worry.
where I'm going on Monday.
You know, and you're right, yes, exactly. We'll make it happen. But, you know, for me, I came into massage and wellness as an athlete, and I got older, and now you start having difficulty moving and doing things like that. Well, what happened? Doctor said, okay, sir, lose some weight. I said, man, I've been active my whole life. I played football, basketball, like everything. But hit these stairs real quick, you know? Here's these Vicodin. Here's these muscle relaxers. You'll be okay, you know? It wasn't until I found, you know, body work and massage that I really truly healed pain that I didn't know I was holding on to. I'd probably still be married if I had figured this stuff out a long time ago. I'm serious. I'm serious. You know what I mean? Like it messes with your head, right? And to now be dependent on some sort of drug or anything like that, now it's messing with your psyche all over again. And you're in this cycle of pain and you know, anxiety and depression, all these things. So really what I'm trying to do is literally with my hands and elbows is reach out to more people and touch them, because we don't need to medicate their way. You know, we don't need to medicate in the way that they want us to, because that cycle is dead, it's done, okay? So for anybody and everybody that can hear me wherever you are, please reach out and allow me to help if I can. Right.
Yes. And also, if you can just let us know a little bit what that reparation will do for your community, especially at Oak Park.
Right. So for me, a boost to me is great, because now it allows me to create, you know, a foundation around what we're doing. You know, it allows me to create a group, a team of people that now have the same mindset, and we're working together. We're united.
Yes.
Right? I'm not in this because I want to be rich and famous and I want to be on TV.
Yes.
That's not what this is about.
Yes.
It's about helping people that need it. You know, it's about meeting somebody new every single day, and whether it's a hug, a handshake, a dap, a joke, whatever. That's my purpose in this life is to heal others. You know, but it started with me.
Yes.
I had to go through it myself.
Yes.
You know, and once I realized it's possible, then why not? I'm gonna talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I might not say too much, but we're gonna talk about plants and herbs. I'm there. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about physical health and mental wellness and things like that. I'm there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Each one, reach one.
Yeah, exactly. So if I can do more in my community, great. If I can do more in Sacramento, awesome. California and beyond.
Yeah.
There's other people out there that have the same mindset as us.
Absolutely.
And
We start here in Sacramento, you know, if
And we
we
just
heal
need to talk
our
about
community here. Yes, absolutely.
I haven't met a lot of these people here today, but I've known them and seen them around.
Yes.
You know, this is a super team right here.
Yes.
You know?
Especially in Sacramento, it's such a small world. Once you know one person, you know the other. So why not come together and, you know, help our community?
That made me nervous being here.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, you know, you start a business in your hometown and you start telling people that you can do things. Now it's like, oh yeah, Rico, yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he says. I'm going to sit down, so I'm going to get a massage. I said,
Yeah.
all right, let's go. You know, you can't hide from your brothers and sisters in town. So if you're about that action, you better do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
It's
what we
great.
have to do.
Yeah, and we uplift each other always.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's why it's so important, even for everybody to fill out the application. We can't just sit there and complain. We have to take action, you know, call to action. What is our call to action? We're all doing the work in our community. Now, we need to go out and fill out that application, and I want Chris to talk about that, how important it is for all of us to do the work, regardless, and to fill out that application and get involved. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No
I do have to get going. I should have said that
Sure,
after that.
no worries.
I have actually a patient to go see and go help. So,
Sure.
that's
Thank
good.
you, thank you.
I'm throwing the coat off, the cape's going on. and
Yes.
so,
I'm gonna see you on Monday,
yes,
for
Monday,
sure.
Monday.
Can't wait. And Mama Rose too.
Yes. We'll get in touch. Yes.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Yes, I bring some
Red
red
mustard greens, they bigger than my hand, I got collard trees.
Yes.
See how quick that was? I said I can help. She said, you better not leave, brother. Make sure you get my number.
I'll bring you some Kushiba food too on Monday. Thank you, Rico. We appreciate all the work you do in the community. Make sure you visit him. He's on Oak Park right there. He's our community healer. So we need to support him regardless. So Chris, I just want you to just talk about how important it is for people before we close. We have like 5 minutes. If you could just talk about how important it is to fill out that application.
Yes. So right now, we're asking folks to fill out the Sacramento Reparations Survey. So we're asking folks to fill out the Sacramento Reparations Survey. That is your call to action. Today, you can see the survey and fill out the survey online at www.sacrepsurvey.com. That's www.sacrepsurvey.com. It takes a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops if you're really taking your time with it. And this is for us to tell the city, specifically the mayor's office, whether or not we should pursue a local City of Sacramento reparations effort here at the city level. The mayor's office is asking about whether or not we want to do that. And so this is an opportunity for us to tell the mayor and his team whether or not we want to do that, and also what we want them to do too. So what type of reparations and what reparations means to us. And I think, you know, the amazing panel here did a fantastic job of explaining and talking about what reparations could be for each and every single one of us in our respective fields. You know, personally, I am, and organizationally, we are very much focused on the direct payments, on the direct monetary payments. We believe that money works. There are probably 100 different, right now, 100 different guaranteed income programs that are going on right now across the country, where people are receiving guaranteed income from different places. Our city actually has a guaranteed income program now, the city of Sacramento, where people are receiving checks every month, no questions asked, no strings attached. With certain qualifications. And some of the results of some of those programs are actually out, and we have been able to see what did people spend the money on, what was the impact on people's health and well-being, et cetera. And it won't be too big a surprise, but generally speaking, the more wealthy people are, the healthier they are, the happier they are. That's just what the evidence tells us. And so that's why we're very focused on the direct monetary payments, on the cash payments, on the checks. We say cut the check. We say if it doesn't have compensation, it's not reparations. And so that's why we're very much focused on that. We believe that is actually the best, most effective way to impact all the other things that we care so much about. Today I had the privilege of hearing about a guaranteed, what we call a reparative basic income program pilot that's being worked on in Chicago, where they're taking young men who are in what we call the informal economy, 60% of whom never finished high school, within the age of, let's say, 16 to 24, and cutting them a check of $900 every month, and requiring them to participate in school programs, et cetera, so that these individuals have an income coming in while they're doing all the other things that we ask them to do. Because a lot of times I think we ask people that don't do this and don't do that, but don't have another thing to replace the income that they get from doing those other things. The study and the work that was done in Chicago found that on average, the average street level drug dealer was bringing in about $900 a month. And so the Repair the Basic Income program said, we're gonna cut you the $900 check a month. Don't do that stuff. Don't risk your life for this $900. We're gonna cut you the $900. And we're also gonna require you to take classes, do this so that you could get more later. And that's one model, and that's one type of thing that we could do here. There's other things that we can do too, and we have a belief that everything is necessary. Compensation, restitution, rehabilitation, guarantees of non-repetition, and satisfaction. Those are the 5 pieces of reparations. You need compensation, restitution, rehabilitation, guarantees of non-repetition, and satisfaction to even call what you're doing reparations according to the way it's been done. So that was a lot. Again, www.sacrepsurvey.com. Take the survey, fill out the survey, tell the mayor's office what you want.
Absolutely. Also, you can find the survey on my social media. We are all over, 5 of us. Dr. Christie and Tia are working on it too, on that survey. You guys having some event?
Yes.
When is your guys' event?
June 22nd, we don't have a location or time
Yeah, so we are also planning on doing a group coming together to do, a reparation conversation, especially when it comes to city officials, with the mayor, with the potential mayors. So maybe we can, everybody can get involved. So we are on social media all over the place, putting this out. So you have no excuses not to go and do that survey and then say, oh, later, we didn't know. Now you know. So make sure you do the work like we're doing every day. So it takes a village, it takes a community to build community. So we're here to support Chris's effort, everybody's, and thank you, Chris, for all you do. We really appreciate you. Honestly, you're doing an amazing job for the community, not just for African American community, for all community. And everyone, I appreciate you all. And keep up the good work. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And I think one more round, there's a bill actually to exempt us from property taxes. It's gonna be heard in a couple of weeks. I believe in the last week of this month. It's Senate Bill 1013 that was introduced by State Senator Stephen Bradford, who was on the California Reparations Task Force. And that bill would exempt any person who was a descendant of someone who was enslaved in this country and a California resident from property taxes.
Nice.
So that's one of them.
Yes, I'm gonna invite Mr. Lewis. I want you to close us with a positive music. Come on. Yeah, Mr. Lewis, he's been working with the youth, music, art and culture. We gotta support the youth. We gotta support, our young men. Let's see, you can just freestyle.
Freestyle.
Come on now.
Well, you got people up here, we'll help you out.
I don't think that's how his song goes, Mama.
I loved your freestyle so much.
No.
What was that? The Blues Brothers. I'm so sorry. Well, I got spirits.
Yeah, it's not gonna come out.
And amazing. It's a positive music. We need positive music in our community too.
And we gonna do what we do, y'all. I can't go nowhere. It's for the elders and the youth and all y'all in between. All y'all in between and all y'all in between. We built the culture, we gonna hold it down by any means. And we gonna hold it down. This for the culture. And all y'all in between, all y'all in between, and all y'all. We build the culture, we gonna hold it down by any means. And we gonna hold it down. Solid to my roots, that's really all I know. And I don't know too much, I still got room to grow. If I ever need advice for my elders, so time change with these connections, I can't let them go. Power to the third new generation coming. I'ma make sure that I play my part for all my youngins. Live food, learn trade, to be only something. Gotta keep the business structure to collect the funding. They soaking up the game, they see me overflowing. My ancestors put in work, we gotta keep it going. I give thanks to everything that helped me stay in motion. I'm forever grateful, they already knowing. We gon' eat forever, we live in abundance. And we gon' feed y'all soon, that's how we stay 100. Meetings with the elders, pulling things together. Believing in each other, that's the hidden treasure. Let's go, y'all. Hey, this for the elders and the youth and all y'all in between. And all y'all in between, and all y'all in between. We build the culture, we gon' hold it down by any means. And we gon' hold it down. This for the elders and the youth and all y'all in between. All y'all in between, and all y'all in between. We build the culture, we gon' hold it down by any means. Feeling it for myself, but I do this for y'all. I really do think that I need it just as much as y'all. But when you need the motivation, I'm the one they call. I refuse to let any of y'all be my downfall. This is for the culture and this for the pushing. Family business, feeding family, shall we steady cooking. Looking out for one another, that's why I be looking. Busy working, you gon' have to tap in with the bookings. I got close to feed video shoots, my children need me. Every time they see me. Still running off the bases, I'm a burning city. I truly value what I do, I can't be doing freebies. Like Lil Russell said, you better make an offer. I figured out what was working and started moving smarter. I gotta make it make sense, that's a self-starter. It's either money or my people that's gonna take it farther. Let's go. This for the elders and the youth and all y'all in between. All y'all in between, and all y'all in between. We build a culture, we gonna hold it down by any means. We gonna hold it down. This for the elders and the youth and all y'all in between, and all y'all in between, and all y'all. We build a culture, we gonna hold it down by any means. Yes, yes, we gonna continue to do what we doing here, y'all. We gonna grow food, we gonna get land. You know, we gonna support each other's businesses. You know, we gonna connect, we gonna eat healthy, all that good stuff. We gonna work on our minds, you know, our holistic health, all that. Yes, yes. Again, I'm Mr. Lewis. Thank you.
Go introduce yourself to that elder in the corner and tell him what you do. And tell him where you're working out of and what that little space is that you got going. He might be interested.
Oh, we have missing one other, Anthony, can you please come closer?
Thank you, thank you.
That was good.
Yes, sir.